So I want you to, before you sit down, take the energy of God is good all the time. Take the energy, I have faith in my dream. I have faith in the vision of Unity North Atlanta Church. And I have faith in where we are heading as the human race for the greatest potential of God made manifest on earth. Will you join me in that? Take that intention as you sit down. So we have a couple of scriptures that I'd like to use to open up the dialogue today. From the Newer Testament, the book of Hebrews, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And from the Older Testament, the book of Proverbs, without vision, the people will perish. You know, I, as a spiritual seeker, as a spiritual student, because that's what I am, and as a spiritual leader, I am feeling a deep, very deep inner call to get off the plateau that I have been on as a student, and that perhaps Unity North has been on as a community. We celebrate and give thanks for the way God has worked through us and as us in miraculous ways to take us to where we are right now. And as the leader and as a spiritual student, I'm ready to go higher. I'm ready to go to a greater place. The possibility and potential that we are living in and as, that I am living in and as, and you are, is great. And there is something stirring and wanting to urge itself into existence if we can capture the idea and the divine truth that God is good all the time. If we can capture the divine idea that we have faith in a vision, faith in a direction. You know, as an athlete, I played a lot of baseball, I did some water polo, and I swam. And as an athlete, you were always reaching higher. You never were satisfied with the last game. You always wanted to improve your game, and then thus you became a better athlete. And I learned a spiritual principle on the baseball field before I got into a church, and that spiritual principle was my coach came to me and said, Richard, if you want to hit the home run, sit in the dugout first, close your eyes, and visualize the home run. Hold that idea through the power and faculty of your imagination, and then it will manifest in physical form. But first, he had me sit and get quiet and picture the home run. Well, that's a principle that we can apply to our spiritual lives individually and collectively. If we are a growing, thriving spiritual student, we must always aim higher. We must be a spiritual athlete that is always wanting to stretch, to become, and to grow ourselves. I don't know about you, but stagnant spiritual life has no place in my world anymore. I don't want to hang out in plateaus. Yes, that's our Sabbath. We hang out there, and then we reach higher. And so today is about challenging you and me and challenging this community to get to the higher place. Will you join me in that intention? If our spiritual path is growing, we are called to have a vision of where we are headed. If you're going to become the divine light that God intends you to be, you have to have a vision. You have to, in that scripture, where there is no vision, the people will perish. Some people interpret that as my vision. But it is the vision of God. In the Old Testament, everybody was receiving visions of God. Well, we must turn to the presence and power, that which is transcendent and above the human experience, to receive the greater vision of God. Michael Bernard Beckwith built his entire dynasty on that idea. I can picture something, but God has a greater picture and a greater idea. That is the vision. Where there is no vision from God, the people will perish. So we're going to turn inward today to the highest power. I'm going to do a 3-part series starting today, and I'm going to challenge you to come not just once every 6 weeks, but to come for the next 3 weeks, because each of these talks is going to build on the other. We're going to start today with the talk Faith in a Vision, followed next week with a talk called Spiritual Investments, Rubber Meets the Road Spirituality, and finally the third talk is How do I keep the fire burning? How do I keep the fire burning when I'm in the dark night of the soul? How do I keep moving forward to the vision when I'm not feeling it anymore? So I invite you and challenge you. You know, at the end of the day, and I'm not sure who said this, but we only hit that which we aim at. We only hit that which we are aiming at. And so if you don't know where you're aiming, it's a pretty haphazard life. It's a pretty haphazard existence. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't feed me spiritually to be living haphazardly. And I don't believe it feeds this community. Great thinkers throughout time, great visionaries, great theologians and teachers all tell you that a vision is necessary for success. You have to know where you are going for there to be success. And they also tell you, on the flip side of that coin, that without vision, you become a hapless piece of driftwood, going to and fro, and I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to get there. Well, yeah, the world's going to tell you exactly where you're going to get, and it may not be where you want to get. So as a community, I'm going to set some direction here. I'm going to invite you to join me in the setting of that direction. Mark Twain said, I can teach anybody how to get what they want out of life. The problem is I can't find anybody who can tell me what they want. Gary Zukav had on his answering machine for a very long time, you'd call him up and he'd say, who are you and what do you want? And if you think those are difficult questions or easy questions, most people go through an entire life never answering them. What do I want out of life? And without a personal vision, we're going to have our life, our spirit, our spiritual life anchored very deeply in one of two places. Escaping reality, escaping life, or simply surviving the rat race. That's it. One of two places without the vision. I don't know about you, but I'm about more than surviving. I'm about more than getting through day-to-day challenges, the day-to-day challenge of being a human being. I'm about more than that. I want more than that. And I can feel that moving within me, and I want to call that forth from each of you to want more than just the day-to-day mundane tasks of being a human being. And if you're happy with that, then you can take a nap right now. But the reality is, I'm calling you forth. I've been challenged and empowered as a spiritual leader to call us all to a higher place. And we are not about surviving. We are about thriving and proving principle. And then the other one is escaping life completely. You know, many of us have a vision of prayer, and that prayer, our prayer life has become a way of escaping reality, of escaping the human experience. Well, the reality is it is just the opposite. By Unity teachings, you are not escaping, you are engaging. You are engaging true life. Your meditation practice, your prayer practice is about engaging what is true, what is life itself, and escaping the illusion. Escaping the illusion. So I invite you to flip a switch in your head about how you view your spiritual life. If it is a means of escaping your life, you're probably not moving in the direction of the greatest vision for your life, the greatest purpose for your life. Yes? So I'm going to give you 3 steps today. And in the bulletin you had a little white sheet. If you care to take notes, I'm going to challenge you to write those notes, put them on a refrigerator, and live them this week so that we can build on it next Sunday when we take it to the next level. So faith and a vision. Step number 1, we must absolutely ask the questions of a visionary. We must have the questions constantly in our conscious mind of a visionary. You see, success does not happen by accident. I hate to tell you that. It's not going to happen by accident, but it is purposeful. And so I am challenging you, myself, to ask the questions. How many times a day, how much time do you devote every day to asking questions like, what do I want out of life? What gives me juice? What is the juiciest dream that I can possibly get my head, my heart, and my life around? What is the fabric of my life that is wanting to have birth? What is God calling me to do? What are the strengths and the talents that other people say are in me, that they notice that are in me, that I may not be using on a regular basis? What gives me joy, and how can I get more of it? The reality is, as human beings, many of us don't ask those questions very often. We're going through the escaping of the rat race and the surviving of the rat race. But we are called as spiritual students to constantly be in the question. Questioning is a spiritual practice. Where is the greatest joy? Where is the greatest good? Reveal it to me. I'm open and receptive with heart, mind, soul, and body, with eyes and ears to find that greatest vision, reality, that greatest reality emerging in my life. These questions, by their very nature, by the simple nature of these questions, are dipping into the infinite field of possibility that is God. And using the faculty of our imagination. One of the 12 powers of mankind is laid out by Charles Fillmore. Our imagination is dipping into that infinite field of possibility, and the greatest good simply emerges. The vision will simply emerge by being willing to ask. Many of us, where we sit today, don't know what the vision for our life is, and that's okay. Ask another question. Ask another question and say to the universe, tell me more. Tell me more. Give me more. Living in the question and keeping very, very awake and very conscious, the vision will emerge. It says in Scripture, seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door will be opened. That's the question. Knocking at the door of infinite field of possibility, of God. And then it goes on to say, for such is the way of the Lord. Such is the way of the Lord. Metaphysical Bible interpretation tells us the word Lord simply means the law. It is the law of the universe, given to you freely and completely, so you can create that vision and that vision. So when you ask, the universe can do nothing but supply a greater reality of God, a greater vision and purpose for your life will naturally emerge. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to push it. You don't have to do a lot of extra work. You just have to be willing to sit in the questions and be willing to receive. So step one is to ask the questions of a visionary. But I don't know about you, but in the human world, my human world, I'll claim it for myself. I spend, if I take an inventory of my typical day, I'm spending way too much time complaining about what isn't working. I'm spending way too much time focusing on why things aren't jiving the way they should or why the relationships aren't showing up the way they should, when I should be asking a lot more questions. What gives me juice? What gives me joy? And then I move towards the greater reality. This church is crawling with people who are visionaries and who are asking questions. And I want to highlight one of those members of this community today who constantly is asking the questions, what can I do to support the vision of the community? Understanding and knowing that his spiritual life is empowered because he is empowering the lives of everyone here. Well, how many know Rusty Morgan? Give him some love. Rusty, stand up so they know who I'm talking about. He's in the back over there. And the reason I want to highlight Rusty Morgan is sometimes we think that these visions are... You can sit down, Rusty. The dance will come at the end of the talk. That sometimes we think these visions have to be big and massive and huge and wonderful. Rusty Morgan is here. I run into him pretty much every week in this church. And he's either got a mop in his hand, he's got a broom in his hand, he's got a vacuum in his hand, he's cleaning up. And let me tell you what, he makes a difference to me. Not because of what he's doing. And then is it really Rusty Morgan's purpose in life to mop the foyer? No. Is it really Rusty Morgan's purpose in life to sweep the sidewalk so it's clean when you get here? Not at all. But Rusty Morgan has a vision of possibility. And he asks the questions, how can I bring the vision of Unity North Atlanta Church to a higher place? How can I use my body, my mind, my wisdom, and he's a very wise man, my heart and my soul? And if it means I'm going to take a mop, so be it. That energetically, when you walk in, you're experiencing more than a clean floor. You are experiencing the energy of a visionary who is plugged in, who is committed, who is dedicated more than once every 6 weeks to showing up and creating an atmosphere for that infinite field of possibility to be revealed. Rusty is a man of questions. He is a man of always questioning. Sometimes it drives me crazy when he questions my talks. But the reality is he is a visionary. And we're going to build this community. He's going to build a life. And I'm going to build a life on his example of asking the right questions to get to the end result. Greater visions exist. We are sitting in a vision made demonstrated by a number of people who lived a life and asked the questions of a visionary. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry wrote, if you want to build a ship, don't herd people together and assign them tasks. Rather, teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. This is a true confessions portion of it for me. I've seen building a vision and a dream as a spiritual leader with getting people to plug into tasks. Could you help out and could you mop? Could you sweep? Could you clean? And what I've done a disservice to this community. So I'm going to invite you into a new consciousness. We're not about endless tasks of creating community. We are about longing as individuals and as a community for the vastness of the sea of possibility. A sea and an ocean of possibility that you can't even picture, that we cannot even picture right where we are right now, but it is there. Let us ask the right questions together. Let us join hands, hearts, and intentions to ask the right questions and say, what can I do to bring the vision to reality? What can I do to be more like Rusty Morgan? Not what would Jesus do, what would Rusty do? What would Rusty do? I'd be a visionary, and I would ask the questions and look out because God's going to happen. Yes? You join me in that? So we ask the questions, and we bring divine ideas that pop into our imagination and our mind. Oh, it's all kinds of wonderful ideas. What keeps those ideas from manifesting? Well, mostly because we don't go any farther than step one. A lot of spiritual seekers stop at step one. They're walking around sharing these great visions. These great visions. Oh, yeah, let me share an idea. Step two. Keep your eye single. So I learned a spiritual truth on the baseball field. The first one was picture the vision first before you get up to the plate. Then my coaches told me, keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye on the ball. I don't know about you, but there are endless distractions in my life. Things and people and situations and circumstances that want to pull me off this magnificent vision, and I allow them to pull me away. Playing baseball, you're up to bat. There was a whole bunch of fielders. Hey, batter, 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 come on, swing, 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 trying to distract me. Those people are in my life. But you know what I find is much like the baseball field, that the people that are the most distracting are the ones that are probably closest to you. I remember as a batter, I could tune out all of the fielders, but that catcher was right behind me. You swing like a girl. You're nothing but a loser, Burdick. You're going to strike out every time. Just give it up. Sometimes when we are going after that vision, it has emerged. The people who are closest to us are going to be the ones that want to pull you off course. Because they want to keep you in a comfort zone. And we allow ourselves to be pulled away and go back to being a piece of driftwood. Making everybody else happy. Doing what everybody else wants to have us do in order to keep them in their comfort zone. If we are going to grow as a community, we need to get out of our comfort zone. And I'm no longer going to try and cater to make everybody happy. I'm going to invite you to do the same here. In your life, who are the catchers? Who are the catchers in your life? You can't do it. It's not going to happen. Give up on the dream and the vision. You're just a dreamer. Let me tell you where the catcher really exists. The catcher exists in your head. Sometimes the biggest distraction is the closest distraction, and it's your subconscious mind that's playing old tapes, old experiences that tell you, don't bother. Don't take the time. Don't put the effort in. You know, we don't talk much about the Older Testament in this church, but one of my favorite stories is the story of Noah's Ark. Now, we're not going to debate whether it's true or not true, but there are theologians that actually say, historians, experts, sages that say there was an ark. There was an ark. But it's not the ark that we all typically remember, and we see in movies and we see in books with all these great big windows. The historians will tell you there was one window. There was one window in Noah's Ark, and it was in the ceiling. Metaphysically, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but metaphysically, that means keep my eye single. Keep my eye focused on the higher power, not on the catcher, not on the outfielders, not on the relationships, not on the situations that are wanting to pull me off course, but to know the presence of God so dearly in my own existence, in my own heart, that nothing can pull me off course. Let the floods come. Let the floods of human experience come, but I remain centered and focused on the presence of God that can do anything through me and as me. I can do anything. If God is for you, nothing can be against you. Yes? But we must be a partner in that creation. You know, when we ask the questions and allow ourselves to be focused on that, the longings of our heart, and I believe this is one of the things on there, the longings of our heart will automatically point us in the direction of our greatest good. Of our greatest good. I ask the question, I receive the vision, I keep it single. And it may not be where I think I'm going to go humanly, but those longings will push me to the direction of my greatest good. No fight, no push, no shove, but the Spirit of God will guide me to the greatest good. Yes? So in our current world, what are the distractions? What does that really mean? You know, I love the movie Up. Remember the movie Up and the dog? That dog that would be like, Master, I'm one with you. I'm one with you. I'm like, squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Okay, I'm happy. I got the vision. I got the dream. Everything's happening good. This is squirrel, squirrel. Well, the reality is we're like that dog, and we're being pulled off course, and we do it to ourselves. So what does this mean for you in your life? It means read books that empower the vision, not books that tear down. Go to movies that empower the vision. Watch TV that empowers the vision. Listen to music that empowers your divine light and not stuff that's pulling you down. You have a lot of choices in all these areas. Choose the ones that are empowering the vision by keeping your eyes single. And here's the hardest part. Choose the relationships that support your vision and let go of those that do not. If they don't, then you don't. Homie doesn't play that anymore. Somebody else's comfort zone is about their comfort zone. And if it does not fit your vision, you step away. As the master teacher said, it's basically, get thee behind me, Satan. This is what God is calling me to do. And if you can't get on board with supporting my highest and best and coming along on the journey, get thee behind me. And I'm going to challenge you today to go out of this room with the mindset of the O.J. Simpson trial. Here's your vision. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. You must let it go. And then sometimes that's the most painful thing you have to do. If the relationship in your life does not fit goodness, positivity, high energy, God, you must acquit. Take the glove off, put it behind me, and let it go. Because the reality is, if we are longing for the endless possibility of the sea, many people in our lives will be anchors. We'll never get to the ocean. We'll never get to the ocean individually or collectively as a church. So I'm going to invite you to cut anchors. Let the anchors go. Set sail for a greater possibility as you keep your eyes single towards the destination of the ocean. At Unity North, we are sitting in a laboratory. I don't know about you, but I come in here, and I can taste the possibility that we have. We have one of the most magnificent pieces of property and magnificent buildings in the Unity movement. We have some of the most incredible people in the Unity movement. People crawling with talent, with passion and excitement. But our consciousness is going to determine whether we manifest the dream or not. And as the spiritual leader, I've been challenged to be a bit of a visionary for you. And I find that my consciousness is playing out. I did an experiment. What I am focusing on shows up in this community. And I had a really difficult lesson a few months ago. Those who know me, I can't walk by a piece of trash without picking it up. I'm really kind of a Virgo about it. I'll try. I've tried to walk by, and I get about 6 paces, and it's like, I got to go pick it up. Well, one Sunday I came to church, 7:30 in the morning, and there was a piece of trash down by the Peace Bowl, the kids' peace garden. And I was not in a particularly good frame of mind. And I said, I'm going to leave the trash today just to see. You know, the reality is I can taste the vision of what's possible here at Unity North. And there are days that I feel like I'm pulling and pulling and pulling and trying to get this community to get on board the train and to see what is possible here. And what is possible isn't going to happen with attending once every 6 weeks. It's not going to happen with $1 in the plate. It's going to be an investment, a full-fledged investment. But I was in a crappy mood. Pardon my French. I left the piece of trash there. At 3:30, when I left that day, the piece of trash was still there. And I proved my truth. I proved my truth. See, I'm doing it all alone. Come on, I have to try and pull you. And I realized that was coming from a very negative space. And that my consciousness was actually affecting my reality. My consciousness was affecting my life. It was affecting my relationship to my community and my family. So 2 weeks later, I did another experiment. I prayed before I came to church. I got in alignment. And I took a piece of trash, intentionally put a piece of trash in the same place at the peace pole. And said, God is good here. My eye is single. There's abundance and goodness and God happening everywhere. And I put the trash down and I walked away. Not more than 10 minutes later, somebody came and picked it up. Before you all came, somebody came and picked the trash up. As I think, so will be my reality. as I keep my eyes single on God, so will be my reality. As I examine my thoughts and my life and my energy that I am playing over and over and over again, so will be my community. So will be my family. So will be my life. We need to absolutely keep our eyes single as an individual spiritual seeker and as a community. Step three. We've got the vision. We've asked the questions. We've received the vision. We've really focused, we've absolutely pictured the home run of our life, of our community. We've kept our eyes single, keeping our eye on the ball. What's step 3? Why is it not manifesting? One of the most important spiritual things is I must take a faith-empowered action. Faith-empowered action. What am I doing to bring this to reality? And I find, I'm calling myself out, and most of the New Thought movement, we're great visionaries, aren't we? We're incredible visionaries. We have all kinds of pictures. Our faculty of our imagination is so enlightened. And we can create wonderful things. Yet I have people in community that come up to me and say, I have this great idea. This wonderful idea, Jeannie. Good luck with that. And they walk away. In your spiritual life, visions are useless. The pictures in your head are useless till you take an action to make that reality manifest in your life. We don't want to invest what it is that it takes to bring a vision to reality in our spiritual path. But it is unity principle number 5. You must do something. Don't just sit there. Do something to bring the reality, and God responds. The vision will respond to that. Now, why is it we don't take action? Anybody have an idea? I've got 3. Fear, that's one of them. Spiritual laziness. We say we want to be a growing spiritual being, yet we're not willing to work at it. I want to be more enlightened. I want more God in my life. Somebody just give it to me. We live in a culture that wants the magic pill. I want to come and have somebody speak up here and give me the magic pill that suddenly I have the greatest enlightenment. I don't have any magic pills. I don't know any minister that does. And if they tell you that they do, run as fast as you can out the door. There are no magic pills at Unity North. There are no magic pills to your spiritual path. Invest in it. Number 2 is fear. Fear is not a divine idea. And I'm going to go back to what we said at Easter, a new acronym for fear. False ego abandoning the resurrection. My false ego is going to tell me to be afraid, and guess what? The vision is slowly floating away, and somebody else is going to grab it and live that dream because you're afraid of it. Step into it. And the third is, anybody else here ever get a vision, an idea that is revealed by the question, and it's like, this is too overwhelming? You want me to do what? What? God? The universe wants me to do that? You want me to lead Unity North? No. 4 times I turned down this job, and I finally, luckily, said yes. Well, each one of us has moments in our life where the Spirit of God is revealing something so magnificent that our human mind can't get our head around it. I'm going to challenge you to get your head around it, because that overwhelm is not a divine idea. The reality is, if your dream, if your vision does not cause you to have your knees knocking, it's not big enough. If the vision of what God wants to do, what you see God doing through you and as you, does not cause you to shake in your boots, it's a waste of your time. Don't waste your time. Growth is going to happen out in the uncomfortable zone, not in the comfort zone. God is going to move in such a way that your human ego and your human world is going to be very, very uncomfortable. Stand in the fire. Stand in the fire. Give what it takes. And by doing that, true faith is always going to stir dreams that make you a little bit uncomfortable. But it's not of any value. The vision is of no value if it doesn't. Unity teaches a very important concept. Faith is the perceiving power of the mind. Putting faith in the vision, not in your fear, not in your overwhelm. Faith is the perceiving power of the mind with the ability to shape substance. The ability to shape substance. That which is under all life. That which is standing under all life. What is that? It's God. It's God. substance is God. So your faith in the vision is being activated and moved upon by the presence of God if you can stand in the fire. My faith in this vision with a clear eye and my willingness to take an action. You take one step towards God, God takes 1,000 steps towards you. You take one step to the reality of that vision becoming manifest in your life, that dream is now moving 1,000 steps towards you. You are shaping God. Your life becomes a reflection of God. But it only happens if you do these 3 steps. It only happens if you take an action and you do something. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Close your eyes for just a second. And I want you to picture the evidence right here, right now, of things not seen for you individually. As good as your life may be, it can be greater. Let us leave the plateau. Let us take empowered action. Let us ask the questions of a visionary. Let us keep our minds single. And know that as we do that individually, collectively, as a community, this church is going to blossom into something far greater than it has ever been. I know this. I can taste this, and I invite you into that dream with me. I'm going to leave you with one final thought. You can open your eyes now. We started, again, as we think, so shall it be. One of the scriptures that I read, Proverbs, that's no longer one of my favorites, said, without vision, the people will perish. That feels kind of negative. I'm going to challenge you to affirm every day this week until you come back next Sunday. With vision, the people will flourish. With vision, you will flourish. With vision, I flourish. With vision, Unity North flourishes. With a vision, the entire world flourishes, and God is made manifest. Through our faith, we are shaping the presence of God in miraculous, beautiful, powerful ways. I want to take this idea into our meditation, and our singer today is Allie Doodle, and she's got a magnificent song. You want my water?
Take a sip of your water.
Sure. That's not water, though. It's vodka.
No.
I want you to join Allie in setting of an intention and a direction. And in this meditation time that Dave Hilburn is going to lead us in, I want you to long for the endless good, the endless vastness and miracle of the sea. You're not just praying. You're not just escaping for a few minutes. You are swimming in the infinite sea of possibility.